Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio, your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
Is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? In a world quick to judge, one book dares to reveal the hidden cost of silence. Discover holy but harmful. The Silent Sin of Judgment, How Hidden Judgments Destroy Relationships and Damage Lives by Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. The Amazon #1 bestseller that's transforming the way we understand ourselves and the way we see others. Pick up the companion workbook to uncover your own hidden judgments and learn how to break free from them. Available now on Amazon and at fine bookstores worldwide.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio. We proudly provide world-class education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. I'm Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck, and as you saw this show today, the show is all about judgment, and it's based on my book, Holy but Harmful. And this is meant to just be an education and awareness program. We'll be discussing times in our lives when we felt like we were judged and maybe it prevented us from doing something we wanted to do, or maybe there were feelings that were left that we're still holding on to years later, or maybe it became an opportunity for change or to stand up for ourselves. So our guest today is one of our own team members here. I've actually had the pleasure of meeting him in person. He is a wonderful person. His name is Hiett Ives. He's a Houston-based speaker. He's also an author. He's an editor, and he's an expert when it comes to B2B trade show strategy. So he's going to join us today, and he's also an expert when it comes to language. So let's mind our P's and Q's. Let's welcome Mr. Hiett Ives to the program. Hello, nice to have you.
Good morning, Jacqueline. How are you this marvelous Wednesday morning?
I'm doing very well, thank you. I'm excited that you're here. Thank you for taking the time. It's been a minute.
Fantastic. Looking forward to it. In fact, you gave me my wordsmith credits. And do you know where P's and Q's, minding your P's and Q's comes from?
No, but I'd love to know.
It's mind your pints and quarts.
So it's British?
Yes, it is. And when they, and European, when in the bars, they would have a slate behind where you're sitting, and they would put how much you were drinking. And that was they were worth their tabs. And the barmaid had to make sure she didn't mix up pints and quarts, because obviously they were at different prices. So be sure you're getting the right amount on the right one. So mind your P's and Q's.
Well, I appreciate that. And by the way, Hiett has a wonderful newsletter that he sends out where he gives all kinds of interesting background stories about words and about phrases. And I actually saw a phrase yesterday before we get into the show. The phrase was "saved by the bell." And when I found out what that meant, I was really surprised.
And I should know that I've used that one, and it's escaping me. What was it?
Well, apparently, at some point in time in history, there were bells put into coffins so that in case you were still alive, you could ring the bell. Well, that's what I wonder. Why did they get rid of that one?
Well, it was attached to the toe, and they literally filled in the dirt and everything, and they would monitor it for 12 hours, 24 hours, so that if perchance somebody actually woke up, it would ring the bell, and they would exhume them and save them.
Well, that makes sense to me. I wonder how many times that actually happened, but maybe I've been watching too many movies about people buried alive. So. But we're going to get into our show today, which is all about judgment. And as I mentioned to you backstage last week, we had one of our mutual friends, Dr. David Shine, on, and we were talking about ageism. And I can't help but feel that after a certain age, I don't know what the number is, you might have more information on this, but it seems like here in the States, we're not revered anymore. Whereas when I was growing up, an older person was revered, and you were interested in hearing all about their life experiences and what words of wisdom you could get. And now it seems like that's not actually the case in what I've observed. So what are your feelings about ageism as we are in the workplace and still have value to bring?
I share David's concern, and as I was talking to you earlier, I am working with a company president he owns his own company. He's 52 years old. His son is 34 years old. And I am being employed both for my trade show, business to business trade show ability. I took the president and I did a show last Saturday. But he's also looking for me to be a mentor to his son. So I'm finding a dual value. Unfortunately, I'm also experiencing, again on the trade show floor and in just regular marketing, these younger executives that may be in their 30s and think that they have the authority, but they fail to have the background to support what they're doing, and they're not looking for it. They don't want it. It's as you said, get away, old man. We know what we're doing, and we're going to do it.
Thanks for sharing that. And it's interesting to me because the older we get, as long as we still have our health and mentally all is well and intact, we have so much knowledge and experience. And I know for myself, just last week, I got information. I applied to Wharton to take one of their programs, and I was accepted. And I thought maybe I wouldn't be accepted because of my age. And then I thought, after I'm finished this program, I will have so much more knowledge and information than I had before. So doesn't that make me more valuable? But yet, if I went to go back into corporate, which I would not do, I don't know that I'd have an easy time getting a job. So it feels like, as a business owner, it's incumbent that we make it, that we become successful in our businesses, because corporate doesn't want us.
Yeah. And it's interesting. You talk about getting more education. A mutual friend of ours, Gail Stolzenberg, just finished a lengthy Zoom workshop that was run by an Australian, and it was run on Australian time, which meant he was up in the middle of the night for long sessions. And I looked at Gail as a mentor for myself, and I said, if because he's even older than I am, and I mean he's in his 80s, he still feels getting educated is important, and learning new skills and ability is important. You do. I'm learning more and more about AI, and finding that I read a quote a while back that said, you're not going to be replaced by AI. You're going to be replaced by a person that knows how to use AI.
Absolutely. And thanks for sharing that about Gail. I really admire that. That is a major commitment to get up in the middle of the night to do something. So kudos to Gail. So Hiett, for people who haven't met you before, we're talking about judgment, but you have your own businesses and you've been very successful in what it is that you do. Tell us a little bit about your background when it comes to being an entrepreneur.
Well, my father was career military, and we spent a number of years in different places. So, and one of those was UK. I've learned to be independent from a very young age. I can vividly remember coming home from my first day of school, and I had a homework assignment of a math problem. And I went to my father and said, "I need your help." He said, "No, that's not my forte. If you're ever going to be good at math, you're going to have to do it yourself." So he put into me a modus operandi, and I said, "Okay, if that's the case." Well, I love math. That's one of my favorite subjects. I came home thinking I needed help, was told, "Make it happen yourself." And obviously I've had mentors and so on along the way. It's when you choose to take a direction and stay with it that good things happen.
Very true. I completely agree. And what I think is so interesting is how, as we age, we continue to reinvent ourselves. And that sometimes is through education. I know for me on social media, when I'm following people, I'm now more interested in people who are my age or older and what they're doing. And I found that I started following people who were actually competing in marathons, half marathons, Ironmans, and they're in their 80s and 90s. And I just saw a woman, I think she was 100 years of age, and she finished a half marathon. So these are the things that are interesting to me, is how people can use what they've been given, this container that we have, and focus on longevity and continuing to push ourselves to new levels. What are your thoughts about that?
Amen. It's interesting. I've always been in good health, and unfortunately, over the last couple of 3 years, the weight has gone up a little bit. Not a lot, but it's now looking at instead of keeping. I was 140 pounds for 40 years, and then it went to 150 and 160 and 170, and now I'm pushing 180, and looking at ways to reverse that. So it's I do a modified fast. Another mutual friend of ours, Red O'Loughlin, is a master at utilizing nutrition on the cellular level to stay active and healthy. And I was with him Sunday at an event that Gail put together, and it was on nutrition. Gail is obviously very active in USANA, which is a nutrition-based supplement program that I am on right now and have been on for quite a while, because they've done a lot of the work to determine what the balance needs to be, and then provide it.
That sounds like a very worthwhile session to have attended, because I know that nutrition is a huge component to longevity. So you mentioned about your weight, and I really appreciate you being honest and sharing that, because many people wouldn't talk about their weights. So do you have any judgment about yourself surrounding the weight?
Take the piece of wood out of your own eye before you go after the sliver that I've got. I've got a bit of a spare tire around the middle, and I was for years. I prided myself that I could eat 3 meals a day and a couple of snacks in between, and my metabolism was such that it went nowhere. It went away. I guess one of the elements of getting more senior is things slow down a little bit, and I'm down to 2 meals a day. And this again is through what Red has done. I eat lunch at noon. I eat dinner at 6, and then I eat nothing in between. So I have basically an 18-hour fast every day. Now, Red and Gail have taken that to the next level of 2 or 3 day fasts, and I think Red takes it to 4 or 5 days in some situations. I know the benefits of those. I have yet to avail myself of them.
I really admire the long-term fasting. I think the longest I made it was 40 hours. But, you shared something that's really important, which is as we age, and, I'm 62 and I've been noticing it since I turned 55, it's not as easy to lose weight. And doing the things that we're used to doing where we could lose weight and it doesn't work anymore. It's like, it's upsetting because, again, nobody hands you a playbook and says, by the way, starting at these ages, this is what's going to happen. And so some people will turn to radical approaches, and some people, maybe they turn to steroids so they can lift heavy weights. I was just watching an interview by Dr. Peter Attia, I think Attia, Attia. I hope I said that right. He's a medical doctor who specializes in longevity. And so he has 5 pillars that he believes are the most important for longevity. And the first one he prioritizes over all of them, and that's exercise. And so there's a lot of judgment, I feel, even at fitness centers, at gyms, when people come in and they are older, that, what's he or she doing on that machine? Why are they still here? And I look at it and I go, you know what? God bless this person for showing up and getting on that treadmill and doing something, because not everybody would. So what are your thoughts and feelings around, as we get older, putting ourselves out there in situations that might be uncomfortable, but that will mentally and physically be beneficial for us?
Well, on the exercise side, I walk every day a mile. I get up, I meditate, and then I walk. I realize that I'm not doing any resistance exercising. I've got a couple of friends that are my age that swim on a regular basis. I've got a 24-hour fitness club 5 minutes down the road. I have yet to go in there and talk to them about putting together a program that involves some resistance exercises, because I've realized that walking alone is not enough. It's a step in the right direction. However, more is needed in that respect. More because of my age. I need to be precise as to what I do and do enough of it to keep the bone structure and the metabolism going well. So I have the goal. I need to set a date on it to start utilizing the gym and the resistance. And this is both physical and metaphorical. You grow by resisting, by participating in things that are challenging. And I have been working with 2 or 3 different companies to get them involved with business-to-business marketing trade shows. And a few things weren't going real well. And one of my very good buddies, I called him a couple of weeks ago and said, "We need to have lunch. I need to dump on you." And he said, "Fine." And we got together. And about 2/3 of the way through, he said, Hiett, do you realize, and he's my age as well, late 70s, said, you realize you at your age are still cutting deals. You just take it on a new client. You know, where most people your age are uh, doing not exercising themselves physically or mentally, and here you are, acting like you're 40. So while I was able to dump on him, I also knew he's one of my best cheerleaders. So I got the cheerleading.
But we need the cheerleading, that's for sure, because so many people want to judge us and just count us out. So congratulations, because that is special. It is exciting that you are still making deals, making things happen. I feel like that's what keeps us young. At any time, we could say, you know what, I'm just going to wait for death to come. I'm just going to watch television until I can't see anymore. And some people do opt for that. And to me, I feel like this is the most exciting chapter of my life. It sounds like you're having an exciting chapter of your life. When it comes to exercise, you could decide after this show, you know what, I'm going to go lift weights. You could change it at any moment. So there's no judgment in that. It's just a matter of making it a priority and being safe about it as well.
Well, of course, one of the things my wife, and you've met Linda and you know Linda, is when are you going to retire? And I don't ever want to retire. However, I do want to perhaps change what I do on an ongoing basis and refocus in some areas. I've been doing more and more volunteer work. I've been involved in a number of nonprofit and philanthropic organizations, and I've found one now where I can both use my skills and help others. There's a organization called the Work Faith Ministry, and they put people that have had some bad times through a week-long a week-long boot camp, very stringent. And on the next to the last day, they have mock interviews. And I have been a participant where I have the mock interviewer for these people that have been through this boot camp. And it's amazing how some of these people had been so beaten down. Had a lady came in and said she wanted to be a waitress, and she wasn't really excited about it. I said, well, what's your background in waitressing? Well, she said, I spent 4 years with Landry's in New Orleans, and then 3 years with Saltgrass, which is a Landry's subsidiary, in Baton Rouge for 3 years. So I said to you, so let me get this right. You've got a 7-year history with one of the finest restaurateurs, most respected restaurant companies in the country. Look at if I were the manager of a Saltgrass and you walked in, I'd say, thank you, God. So the people, I'm able to give them my advice and counsel, and at the same time, help them grow and see more in themselves. In fact, I look forward to it to find, what hidden gem, what hidden skills am I going to be able to let this person know they have and appreciate and go forward with.
Hiett, thank you so much. And thank you for sharing what Linda shared with you about retiring. I know a number of people who are younger than I am who retired when they turned 60. And so many times I will get asked this question, which is, oh, you're still working? which is a question that has judgment in it, right? Because they're judging me because I'm working and they're not working. And I always wonder to myself when I hear this from someone who has retired, maybe they're jealous they're not working. Maybe they actually miss working. They miss having a reason to get up instead of saying, what are we having to eat today? Which I've known people that's a big part of their day. It's like, oh, what are we having for lunch? What are we having for dinner? And I know for me, I don't really even think about that because I eat the same food every day. You're fasting 18 hours a day, so you already have a structure. But what about with the fasting? Do you ever get judgment from people about that, or are people typically supportive of the fasting?
I don't let them judge me. I approach it, hey, here's what I'm doing to take care of myself, and I'm finding it works. And I also know that in the minority, if you will, there are very few people that have the discipline to exclude a meal and to exclude things out of their diet on a regular, consistent basis of their own volition. Not because they are having to overcome something. It's they want to maintain, what they've got, and that's the way I approach it. And again, I'm almost wanting to encourage people, that because we've all met people that are overweight and continue to be overweight and seem not to have any concern about that. To where when you tell them what you're doing to maintain yourself, it's sort of and go ye and do likewise.
Absolutely. It's interesting that you share that because I've been traveling quite a bit. And what I found when I've been in Europe is, and for example, I'm a size 4. Okay. I will not wear a bathing suit. You will not see me in a bathing suit. I actually have a one piece that I'll wear to swim laps for exercise, but you won't see me prancing around anywhere on a beach or at a swimming pool. But when I went to Europe, what I found was there were women who were of a larger size wearing very tiny bathing suits and did not care about it at all. It was like they were so comfortable in their own skin. And there was a part of me that I thought, in the United States specifically, are we too focused on judging people and what they're wearing and how they look, as opposed to going to Europe and people have a completely different attitude, which is, hey, this is me and I love me as I am. What do you think about that?
Yep, I agree. I've got a daughter, a 45-year-old daughter, who from her earliest days had to be in the right name. The clothes she had on had to have the right name in the tag. And I tried to tell her, they're not looking at the tag. They're looking at you, and those are accoutrements to you and to who you are. But unfortunately, to this day, she is in fact, she and her husband just bought a very high-end car, much higher than they needed. But it's what I want to be seen in. She's bought $2,500 handbags. Now bless her that she's got the money to do it. And on the other side, what a gross misappropriation of the money you have.
So are you feeling that you're having a judgment about how she's spending her money?
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Now, I also know what her investment portfolio looks like. And it's several hundred thousands deep. And she and her husband are in their mid 40s and, both have very successful lives. So, their balance is good. It's not like they're, buying all of this stuff and missing bills and have nothing in it for the future. So her balance is good for her, and it just doesn't necessarily fit my modus operandi or my evaluation of what she could be doing with the money she has.
Well, I appreciate your honesty on that because, it is interesting. I know when I was growing up, I was very close to my parents. You already know this. And my father had certain statements that really resonated with me. But one of the things that he said to me, look outside, what do you see? I see a tree in the backyard. He's like, do you see any money growing on the tree? No. So no one's going to take care of you. You always have to take care of yourself. Don't expect your mother and I to do this or a man to do that. And that really stayed with me. And I wasn't really sure at the time, and I'm not really sure today if that was a judgmental statement, but it was certainly motivational. And something that I just read this week, which kind of we already know, but we don't actually think about it on a daily basis, is there are 3 places that you can go where money has no value, really: a hospital, a prison, and a cemetery. So in all 3 of those places, you could find the richest person in the world in a hospital. Maybe they have a private room and their own team of people, but it's going to take God and a miracle in the universe to actually bring them back to normal, if that's possible. And then, of course, in a prison, it doesn't matter how much money you have, because if you are sentenced to do time, you're going to have to do that time. And in a cemetery, everyone's dead, so it doesn't matter what they had. But yet we get so hung up on our money. And I think that money is a tool. It's a tool that can make us happy. It can make us sad, but it comes and it goes. And I know that for me, that at this age, I look at money in a different way than I used to. Now I look at it as, wow, with money, I can grow this business. I can travel abroad. I can give back and help other people, as opposed to I need more shoes. I need more handbags, because I went through that myself. And now I'll tell you what, if you saw here, I've got all these shoes in these boxes piled up. I can't wait to get rid of them. I don't wear them anymore. You couldn't pay me to wear high heels. But at the time, I had to have the latest designer shoes. And now to me, they have no value. Yeah. So I started a TV show called Couture Treasures, and I will be selling them on the show.
Well, it's interesting. Linda had a similar background to yours, as she was very close to her parents. He was a postal delivery man. So he was never wealthy, but they were rich in family, and they bought things secondhand often. Well, I today, just in the last couple of months, found a pair of shoes on a clearance rack. They were top-end shoes that I got for next to nothing. And I was at a men's session on a Saturday morning in a church that was next to their second store that had clothing. And it was the weekend before Father's Day, and they had sports jackets for $25, but because it was Father's Day, they marked it down to $15. I've got a fully lined, tailored sports jacket that probably retailed for $250 easily. I got it for $15. Linda, this goes back to the label thing. Linda said, you can afford better. You don't have to buy at a second store. To which I said, hey, look what I got at a second store. And nobody has to know that. In fact, I was at an event where I had that jacket on, and I had a watch on that's a good-looking watch. And they said, these young people were saying, we want to be successful like you, so we can afford a watch like that. Well, the watch that I was wearing, good looking watch, very nice watch, cost me $75.
I love that. You know what? I'm with you. There's nothing better than finding an incredible deal at a vintage store, because it's also sustainability, right? Where instead of buying something new, you're buying something that someone loved and took care of, and now you get the opportunity to wear that. So I think that's wonderful. I had never gone into vintage stores really my entire life until probably I turned 55. And when I went into the first one, I couldn't even believe what I was seeing. And the woman who owned it, she said, oh, someone's mother died, and she brought in all of her bags. And I thought, oh my gosh, like this would be a $4,000 bag that I'm getting for $50. It's amazing. It's amazing. So I highly suggest to people they look into giving things to vintage stores or selling them to vintage stores and also buying things from there. I think it's amazing. And also the same thing about giving things to Goodwill. I know I give a number of things to Goodwill, and you get a receipt, and here in the States, you have a tax deduction, but why not give back to help someone else? And just by looking in your closet.
Yeah. I was in one of those second stores for the Mission of Yahweh that I was on the board of. And it was before Christmas, and I found 2 or 3 vintage Christmas ornaments. And I said, what are these? She said, $1.50 a piece. And I took 3 of them. I said, here's $10. It's more valuable to me that I'm getting value, and not only the beauty of it, but it reminds me of my past and so on. So, I was willing to pay more than they were asking because of what it was giving me.
What a beautiful way to look at that. I really admire that. And if you think about it, each of the items that we get at a vintage store has a story associated with it. And we don't know what that story is, but we can imagine the person who hung the decorations and what that tree could have looked like. And the same thing when we donate, that people can come up with a story of where our item came from. So I think it's really a beautiful thing. I do know from having known someone who owns a store, it's very hard to make money because it's a tough business, but the whole purpose and the foundation of it, I think, is absolutely beautiful. So we have no judgment about that, right, Hiett?
Let me give you a second story. I was in Singapore, and I was doing a trade show there, and I was walking down from one place to another, and went and saw it was a store, a furniture store. But it was a hodgepodge of stuff. And I saw on the back wall through the front window a beautiful carved one single piece of wood that's literally 2.5 feet wide, 1.5 foot tall, framed. It was absolutely gorgeous. I did not go in. I went back to my office and got my Singapore native employee, took him back. I stood outside and said, that's what I want you to buy for me. He went inside, he negotiated, and then I came in to pay. Well, the person, it was a very famous piece, and it was literally the story of the emperor had fallen in love with the maidservant, and this was where he was having to give the maidservant to the abbess to take her to the monastery, and over on the side, the women of the court were all cackling. Finally we've got rid of it. But it's an age-old story. But the person that sold it to me, and she actually gave me the write-up about this, was appreciative of the fact that I used the tools that I had, i.e. my local guy, to get it, and she appreciated that I had done that. It wasn't that I was, that I was talking her down or being deceive. What I can't think of the word. Trying to deceive her. She appreciated that I appreciated a piece of art and wanted to get it for the best price and knew how to do that.
Well, the comment that you made is right on point because it has to do with perspective, and we can have one perspective or look at another perspective. And I think that's really at the core of judgment. And I'll give a quick example. Right outside my windows, there are people cleaning the windows. They're on these huge, I'm on an upper floor. And I heard someone in the elevator saying, how can anyone do that for a living? And I thought to myself, thank goodness there are people doing that for a living, because I couldn't do that for a living. So So it's all about perspective, even about trash collection. I've heard people make really negative comments, and I'm like, bless these people for doing that, because somebody has to pick up the trash, and I'm glad it's not me. So it's all about perspective. And what I'd like to close out with today is there are many ways that you can help people. I love your website. It looks terrific. We're going to bring it up. What are the best ways for people to reach out to you, and who would you like to contact you?
The two simplest ways are Hiett at hiettives.com, and there's a lesson in that you want to be your own domain. So Hiett at hiettives.com, or my phone, which is 832-372-6900. That's 832-372-6900. And the people I would love to talk to are people that have business-to-business copy, be it website, collateral material, blog copy, that needs upgrading. That's my please don't throw me in the briar patch stuff. I love to edit, and what I do is turn it into second person present tense copy with a call to action. And the other area is, as you mentioned earlier, the business-to-business trade shows. I have done business-to-business trade shows all over the world in a number of verticals. My skills are such that I guarantee qualified leads from any trade show. You use me at any trade show, and you are guaranteed qualified leads. And so trade shows and editing, writing are the two areas that I'm interested in, and Hiett at hiettives.com. There's part of my evolution. I have to upgrade that show dynamics. I used to market myself under show dynamics. I now market myself under Hiett Ives.
Fantastic. Well, for those who are listening on a podcast platform and cannot see our screen, just to reiterate, Hiett's phone number, if you're in the United States, is 832-372-6900. I love that phone number. And if you're outside the United States, it's 01, correct? 01-832-372-6900. And his email address is Hiett, his name, HIETT at Hiett Ives, HIETTIVES.com. Hiett has actually done some editing for me when I came out with my first book, Behind the Green Screen. He does a great job. And also, what about the newsletter? I would love for people to sign up for that, because there's a lot of value in there.
Yeah, send me an email to say, I think you could actually sign up from it, from the website as well. But I'll go double check that, but you should be able to sign up there. If not, just send me an email. Say put me on your.
Yeah, I see it. Let me just share this so people can take a look. Share screen. And there's a contact form right here on the website. So you just go to hiettives.com and you can submit your information there. And I've been on the list for years, and I really appreciate it. Everything that you share has value to it. And sometimes I'm even smiling. I'm thinking I had no idea that was that, or that I was using this phrase and it meant this. And so there's a lot of value there. And I really want to compliment you on that, Hiett.
Thank you, man.
All right. We are going to sign up for now. Thanks for being here, and keep on going, Hiett. You are an inspiration, and good luck with the work you're doing there at your home. And please tell Linda that I said hello.
I'll do that.
Bye
Thank
for now.
you. Have a great day.
Bye. Well, folks, just in case you didn't know, I met Hiett years ago, and he and his lovely wife actually volunteered to do some role plays for me, which were really the basis for everything that I've been doing with elevated listening. So it started years ago, and people like Hiett and Linda were willing to be involved by doing these role plays that I had directed that really mirror behaviors and situations that all of us are in at some point in our life, until we have the awareness of what actually is going on. So if you feel that you've been judged, or if you are now recognizing that you're judging others, it's okay. There's no judgment to it. But in this book, I do teach you how to be aware of when you're being judged, how to know when you're judging others, based on 3 simple items, 3 simple questions. 1, is it kind? 2, is it necessary? 3. Is it kind? Is it necessary? Is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? Is it true? That was a senior moment. So if it's not those 3 things, do you have to say it? Could you take 6 seconds and pause and think, by me saying this statement, I could potentially hurt someone? I was reading something and research in a study, which I can't remember what it was at the moment. But basically, if someone says something unkind to you, that may stay with you for up to 20 years. And even though you may forgive the person and forgive yourself for how you responded, it might still be there. So we all have the power to control what we're saying and to control how we're showing up. And if you're in a situation, when you're in a situation where someone's judging you, maybe with just a passing by comment, such as, you look great for your age. Oh, it's great that you're still working at this age. You can decide, am I going to put fuel in the fire and come back with some smart answer, or maybe come back with a passive aggressive comment? Or am I going to just thank you for sharing your thoughts and not take it in? Mel Robbins has a saying, and I believe it's actually a book now, and she shares this. It's called Let Them. Let them say what they want to say. Let them not invite you to the party. Let them talk behind your back. Let them do what they will do, because they're showing you who they are. And in the meantime, let you decide how you're going to show up. Let me decide how we're going to respond. So just thoughts to consider, because we have so much strife in the world, and I really am advocating for us finding inner peace so that we can be part of world peace and continuing to give back as a peace ambassador. So thank you again for listening. Our next show is coming up. I really do appreciate you all being here. Let's just take a pause and be kind to each other and think before we speak and think before we're acting. All right, we'll talk to you later. Bye for now. USA Global TV and Radio proudly presents Tracy Cram-Perkins, a dementia caregiving survivor teaching how to balance care with peace of mind. #1 resource for dementia caregivers. It's the book Dementia Home Care: How to Prepare Before, During, and After. Over 17,000 copies sold of this must-have guide. And now a testimonial from Tracy Smith.
If I was to describe this book to someone who is going through a similar situation, I would underscore how important it is to have some sort of a tool or a guidebook to help you through certain stages. And there's so many, it's such an unknown topic to the average person. And to have this as a reference is essential. It's going to help you get through it personally, as well as help your loved one manage.
To learn more, go to TracyCramPerkins.com. Tracy Cram-Perkins is an award-winning author. She's also the host of Dementia Home Care television show. Watch it here on USA Global TV and Radio.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at USAGlobalTV.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USAGlobalTV. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Music by Johnny Dies. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Copyright 2025. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.